everyone, this is Miss Barb from the Sterling Heights Library, coming to you from home again. The library is now open for curbside pickup only. We are not able to allow anyone to come into the library building. Right now it is only staff members, but we will pull items for you so that you can come to check them out. When you do come to the library, you will park in the parking lot in numbered parking spaces. You can call into the library building. If you have items that are already on hold, then we will pull those items for you. We will check them out and we will bring those to your car. I would suggest that you call ahead of time if you need to have items pulled, or if you put things on hold on the computer. Is probably the easiest thing to do. Put them on hold on the computer. We'll notify you when the items are in the building, and then you can come to the library to pick them up. It will just save you a little bit of time instead of waiting in a hot car in the parking lot. Not a lot of shade there. I don't want to have you sitting in a hot car in the parking lot while you're waiting for us to get your items. We are still under construction, so some of our items are not where we're used to finding them. It does take us a little bit of time to get things together. So if you call in advance of coming in, that's the best thing to do. That's what I would suggest. So our story time today, I thought that in honor of Father's Day coming up next weekend, that we would do a story that features a dad. This is a dad goose, a gander goose, and little goose. The story is called Just You and Me, and I hope that you'll enjoy that story. And of course, we always do 2 crafts when we're doing our Whimsical Wednesday. So we have a paper craft and an edible craft. Because they deal with a storm in the story, we have got for our paper craft, we are going to be making a scenery where we have umbrellas in a rainstorm using bubble wrap and paint. I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. And I thought in honor of Father's Day, because fathers are always big, strong guys and dads can do anything. Well, I thought for our Father's Day craft that we could do a dumbbell or a barbell craft. And this is a pencil rod and some cookies, and this is about the type of thing that I can lift up myself, not too much weight there, but it's just kind of a fun craft. I've been looking forward to showing this to you. So without further ado, let's show you the book. We'll read the book together, and then I'll show you how to make these crafts. This is the story, Just You and Me, by Sam McBratney. Just You and Me by Sam McBratney. Once there was a little gosling goose, and her name was Little Goosey. One day, Little Goosey and Big Gander Goose, who looked after her, set out to walk down to the river. They hadn't gone far when the wind began to blow. Gander Goose looked up at the dark clouds racing across the sky and said, "A storm is coming. We'd better find a place to hide." "A nice warm place? Just for me and you?" said Little Goosey. "Just us," said Gander Goose. "A place where we can rest until the storm is over." And they hurried into the woods looking for a place to hide. "Will there be thunder when the storm comes?" asked Little Goosey. "Well, yes, there could be some thunder," said Gander Goose. Soon they found a hole in a ditch, but there was someone in there already, a small gray-whiskered mouse. She was hiding from the storm too. "You can stay in here with me if you like," said the mouse. Little Goosey whispered to Gander Goose, "I don't want anybody else when the thunder comes, just me and you." Gander Goose thanked the small gray-whiskered mouse. "It's a bit too damp in here for us," he said. "You're very kind, but I think we'll look for someplace else. Goodbye." When the other two had gone, the mouse saw some wet moss growing up the walls. "It is a bit damp in here," she thought to herself. "I'll look for a better place too." Little Goosey and Gander Goose went farther into the woods, looking for a place to hide. They found a hole among the roots of a tall tree, but there was someone in there already, a squirrel with a high, proud tail. "Would you like to stay in here with me?" said the squirrel. Little Goosey whispered to Gander Goose, "But I don't want anybody else, just me and you." Gander Goose thanked the squirrel with a high, proud tail. "I can see daylight above our heads," he said. "You're very kind, but I think we'll look for someplace else. Goodbye." When the other two had gone, the squirrel looked up and saw the sky through the trunk of the hollow tree. "The rain could easily run in through that hole," he thought to himself. "I'll try to find a better place too." And there he's running to try and find a better place. Little Goosey and Gander Goose ventured farther into the woods. They found an interesting cave among the rocks, but a rabbit with furry ears had found it before them. "We could all stay here together if you like," said the rabbit. Little Goosey nestled into the soft feathers of Gander Goose and said quietly, "I don't want there to be anybody else when the thunder comes, just me and you." Gander Goose thanked the rabbit with the furry ears. "There are too many stones in here for us," he said. "You're very kind, but I think we'll look for someplace else. Goodbye." When the other two had gone, the rabbit couldn't find a space to lie down comfortably. "It is too stony in here," she thought to herself. "I'll look for a better place too." So there she's running to find a better place. Little Goosey was beginning to feel tired after all that searching for a place to hide, but then they found a hole behind a bush at the bottom of a hill. "This looks like a good place to be out of the storm," said Gander Goose. "And there's no one here." "Just us," yawned Little Goosey. She made a tunnel under some blown-in leaves so that she wouldn't hear the thunder if it came, and she lay down to sleep. There she and Gander Goose are sleeping. But who's this? Who else is coming into that little opening? I see a rabbit. I see a squirrel. I see a mouse. Uh-oh. Let's see what happens. The storm arrived. A great wind blew through the trees, and the rain came down. In the fields and in the woods, no one could be seen, for they were all hiding from the storm. The dark clouds passed over, the wind died down, and soon the skies were clear again. Little Goosey blinked in the ray of sunlight shining into the hole. Then she heard someone behind her. "This was a good place to hide from the storm," said the small gray-whiskered mouse. "It was," agreed the squirrel with a high, proud tail. "A very good place to hide from the storm," said the rabbit with the furry ears. So did the Little Goosey and Gander, were they by themselves? No, they weren't alone. Who else was there? We had Mouse, we had the rabbit, and the squirrel, all hid in the same spot with them. The mouse, the squirrel, and the rabbit waved goodbye and then ran off into the woods. "This was a good place to hide from the storm," Little Goosey laughed, "for all of us." Gander Goose looked out at the trees, still dripping after all the rain. "It was, and now I think we'll walk down to the river," he said. "Just us?" asked Little Goosey. Gander Goose smiled and said, "Just you and me." And there they are, walking down to the river. The end. I hope everyone enjoyed the story, Just You and Me by Sam McBratney. And I thought it would be a nice treat for us today to do something for Father's Day, which is a father and child story with the Gander Goose and with the Little Goose. So we have two crafts that we're going to make today, an edible craft and a paper craft. And we're going to start out with the paper craft. For the paper craft today, because the story had to do with being out in the rain, I thought that we would have something umbrellas in the rain for this craft. And what you'll need is a blank sheet of paper. You will need a couple of cupcake liners. If you have some that have a print on them, that is fantastic. If you have some that are not printed, if it's just a plain white one, or if it's one that has colors on it, then you can go ahead and use crayons to color it in. I'll show you that in a moment. You will also need some sort of tray or paper plate, something like that, to put a little bit of paint on. And you'll need a little bit of bubble wrap and some crayons and a glue stick. So for this one, what we are going to start out with is I'm going to first take this this plain cupcake liner, and I'm actually going to color it in just to show you an idea of what you can do for a design. I only need to color in half of it because we only use half of it for the umbrella. So I'm going to cut it right off like that. You can use them to make 2 umbrellas. I'm just going to use this to make 1 umbrella. So I've got this half, and I can decorate it with the crayons that I have. So I'm going to do a couple of stripes on it just to show you some ideas of how you can make it. So I've got some red stripes, do a couple of blue stripes, make it nice and patriotic. It's that time of year. We had Flag Day the other day. We celebrated Memorial Day recently. 4th of July is coming up. So lots of good patriotic holidays. And no right or wrong way. It can be any way that you like it. And I will show you in just a moment the pattern that I've made. Okay, so this is the pattern that I've made. Doesn't have to be beautiful. So I need this, and I'm going to cut each of these in half because I only need half of these. You can use the whole thing if you want, just to have more umbrellas for the craft. It's up to you. I'm going to cut these roughly in half. Okay. So I've got those 2 halves and this half here. What I'm going to do is glue them onto my sheet of paper. I can glue them any place that I want to, just in random spots. Use my glue stick. And I'll put the glue on the paper first because the cupcake liners are a little bit thin material. If I put glue on them, they might tear, so gotta be a little bit careful. Didn't get quite to my edges. Okay, my cupcake liners are on the sheet of paper. I'm then going to take crayons and I'm going to make J shapes underneath each of my cupcake liners, and that will make it look as though each of these is an umbrella. You can do different colors, you can do the same color, you can have them facing all the same direction or different directions. It is up to you. The next thing that I'm going to do, the fun part for the kids, is going to be using some bubble wrap and some paint. I'm just going to put some paint onto this paper plate. And evidently I'm also going to get paint on my hands. That's okay. So a little bit of blue paint. You can use dark blue, light blue. Mix some white into it if you want it lighter. Mix some dark colors into it if you want it darker. And I'm only going to use a little bit of my bubble wrap. And the bubble wrap is going to make a pattern that will look a little bit like raindrops. So I'm going to take my bubble wrap. I'm actually going to take this liner and I'm going to move the paint around a little bit because it's kind of a big blob right there. And I just want the paint to be a little bit on the thinner side, so. There, a little bit better not to have my paint so thick. I used a little more than I needed to. So I'm going to take the bubble wrap, and bubble wrap, there is a flat part of the bubble wrap, and then there's the part where the bubbles poke out. That's the part that I want to use for the craft, is where the bubbles are. going to take this, and this is going to work like a stamp. The bubbles will be the stamp portion of it. I'm going to place this into the paint, and then I'm going to place it in different areas on my picture. I don't want to go right underneath the umbrellas because I don't want it to look as though it's raining under the umbrella, but I can do it in all sorts of areas around the umbrellas. Let's see how that's going to look. And you'll want to tell the little ones when they are doing this part of the craft, when they put their bubble wrap down on the paper, little ones usually they want to put the bubble wrap down and then they want to smear things around. Try to, if possible, try and have your little ones put the paper down, put the bubble wrap down, and then pick it up gently without smearing it. And then you'll be able to see those circles from the bubbles a little bit easier. So I'm going to put this down here, carefully setting it down and pulling it back up. And I have got some raindrops there. And like I said, I can put this all over in different places on my sheet of paper. I just need to make sure that when I set it down, it's not right underneath an umbrella, because like I said, we don't want it to look as though it rained under an umbrella. So let me put this in a few other places before I have to get new paint. So I'll put some in a few different spots. And add a little bit more paint. And this is how I have my craft so far. And of course I did get underneath, after telling you not to go under the umbrellas, I did get a little bit underneath my umbrella, but that's okay. We know that when you're out in the rain, sometimes the wind blows and it blows it underneath the umbrella where you are. So evidently this was a windy day, and that is why we got some rain under our umbrellas. And it's okay too if a little bit of rain gets on top of the umbrellas, because as we know, umbrellas are made to get wet to protect us. So do just a little bit more on the side. And a little bit of a messy craft. Sorry about that, but this was finger paint that I used today. Hopefully you have finger paint at home that you can use to make a craft like this. If you don't have paint at home, the other thing you could do is, instead of using the paint and the bubble wrap, is just use a blue pencil, a blue marker or a pencil, and you can just make circles on it to make it look like raindrops, or you can just kind of like tap it in different places, and then that will also give the illusion of rain. So this was this was the first craft that we had for today. The second craft that we have is to make the edible barbell, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Okay, so now we're going to make the edible barbell craft, and I must admit, I'm so excited to show you how to make this. I think this is one of the coolest edible crafts that I've come across in recent times. What you will need for this craft is you will need 6 of these fudge stripe cookies, just like this. You will need 1 pretzel rod. You will need 4 gummy lifesavers, and it doesn't really matter what color you use for them. I chose red. I just thought red makes me think of weight equipment for some reason. So 4 of those. And then the last thing that you'll need is either some melted coating chocolate or something white, like a white gel frosting. I am actually using some regular white frosting, and I'm just kind of stirring it up a little bit with a toothpick. The first thing that you'll want to do is stir it up so it's nice and kind of a little bit melted. Something that you can get onto your toothpick, you're going to want to use this to write with. Now for the barbell craft, usually barbells will have weights on them, and it will say how much weight is on the craft. or is on the barbell. So in this case, I'm going to say that it has 45 pounds on each of the weights. So I'm going to use the frosting, and with my toothpick, I'm going to kind of write that in to make it look like a 4 and a 5. And of course I'll have to keep going back to my frosting, but that's totally okay. So I've got a 4 written down, and I'm going to put down a 5. So I'm just pulling it across, coming down. This part, of course, being a little bit tricky, might need to have a mom help out with doing this part. And like I said, if you wanted to use melting chocolate, that those little wafers that you can purchase to make candy when you're molding it, you can do that too. So I have the number 45. I'm gonna set that down, and I need to do that on 2 of the cookies. I'm not gonna bother on the ones that are in the center. Nobody's gonna see that. So I'm going to put it just on the 2 end cookies. And so again, I'm going to make a number 45. And of course you can do different weight amounts too. If you want to do 25, if you want to do 15. We're going to make it look like we've got very strong dads that use plates that weigh 45 pounds. Yeah, this is the tough part with the craft. Everything else on this is so simple, it will defy your imagination. So this one's a little bit sloppier because I'm doing it a little faster, but this is how you can make your 45. And of course, because I'm using frosting with it instead of coating chocolate, it won't harden. So you will want to be a little bit careful with it. Don't grab it by the number or your numbers are going to smear. So I've got my two that say 45. And to put the craft together, like I said, super, super easy. Going to take 2 of the gummy lifesavers, and I am going to gently pull them because they're gummy. They squish. I'm going to pull them, 1 on each side, and go up maybe about 2 inches up on one side. And we'll put this, we'll roll it about 2 inches up on the other side, so fairly even. And this one up a little bit more. And I will start putting on my weights. So I'm using, it's up to you if you want, you can have the chocolate side facing out so that you'll have all chocolate on the outsides. If you want the stripes on the outside, it's, or excuse me, not the stripe, you'll want to put this with the numbers on the outside. I think it actually looks the best when they're all facing the same way. So I'm going to have all of my stripes facing towards the middle. Once I have them on, I'm going to put another gummy lifesaver on the end. Be kind of careful and try not to hit my frosting. But there you can see that it says 45 pounds. And I'll do the same on the other side. So I'll put on 1, 2. It's a perfect size. That hole is just perfect for putting these on. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to kind of look and make sure on both ends that the 45s are kind of in the same spot, pointed up. And put another gummy lifesaver on there. And now I have got a set of barbells. If you want to, you can make this a little bit shorter. You can either adjust and have the cookies in a little bit further, or if you want, you can nibble off the end of the pretzel roll. But it's kind of a cool craft. I thought it would be a nice one for Father's Day. I always think of dads being big and strong and dads liking to work out. So that is our edible barbell. Pretty cool. I hope everyone enjoyed the story today, Just You and Me by Sam McBratney, and I hope that you enjoyed the 2 crafts that we made today, that we did our kind of a crazy windstorm umbrella painted rain craft. Very long craft name there. I hope that you enjoyed that, and I hope that you enjoyed making the barbell craft. I think it's a really fun one, not just for dads for Father's Day, but if you know anyone who's into working out, this would just be a fun craft to make for them. Use it maybe to decorate a cake, something like that. I just think it's a great craft. So I hope everyone enjoyed the crafts. As I mentioned earlier, we are open again in the library building, only in that staff are there to pull holds and do curbside pickup. You are not able yet to come into the library building, but we are open to pull holds for you. You can call us up. We can pull library books for you. You can put books on hold on the computers at home, and we will pull those books, and you will be able to park in the parking lot, and we will have staff members bring the books out for you. So you can't come in quite yet. Hopefully it won't be too much longer until you can come in and browse for books on your own. But in the meantime, please make sure that you utilize that service. It's working out really well right now, and we've had a lot of people come to get books already. So I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of the afternoon. Everyone have a great Father's Day. Bye-bye.